I don't know who's bigger, him or Donald.
Your only way to insult me is to call me fat. Meanwhile, I can pull up a fucking laundry list of ways to insult you, but that would take too long.
So now that the best boss in the DLC is dead, who are we after next?
Before we take on the final boss of the DLC, I want to hunt down the rest of the Remembrance bosses before concluding the DLC. You could say it's padding, but if we're going to make a movie out of this shit, by God, we'll need all the content we can get. We're barely a documentary's length right now.
What's your opinion on the DLC so far, Donald?
I like it. I don't love it, though. But compare this to the Ringed City from Dark Souls 3 or even the DLC for Dark Souls 1 with Artorias and Manus. Those felt more impactful and that we actually meant something when doing those expansions. Here it just feels like we're some fan fiction ruining someone else's story.
That sounds about right for this DLC. From the reviews I've read, it's basically the same thing as you just said. Doesn't really end with a bang, really.
It's still good, though, don't get me wrong. It's one of the better expansions from recent games to me. The fuck? Does this guy have the Dancing Lion's mask on? Great, now I have to deal with a humanoid storm-spamming dancing lion.
It's like the soul of the dancing lion never really died and just haunts you now.
Kind of rubs it in his face that Don died to the boss a good few times.
Well, I could have one-shotted it had I just used my mimic from the get-go and used the blasphemous blade.
But then people would call you out for not playing it properly or something. Elitists or another breed of incels, I swear.
Hell yeah, more stuff to add to my collection that I'll probably never wear. Those guys with the dancing lion masks are all over this place. I can't even pick out what the theme of the boss is.
Neither can I. It can't be the lion again, so I just wonder if it's all a skill check regardless of the enemy types.
Or maybe they're just fans of cloud seeding, who knows?
I have a feeling this will be another Gideon moment. Yep, fucking knew it. Never was my friend.
Don, you barely even touched their quest lines.
It was never kindly Mikula, was it? The Erdtree was leading you all along, so that you might ascend to lordship. Why come to these lands to begin with? I suppose it must be what His Eminence, or perhaps the Erdtree desired all along. The clashing of the favored lords, such that one would prevail. So be it. If you insist upon facing Mikula the Kind, then I will run you through whoever you might be. Don't tarry now.
Does she not know I already became the Elden Lord?
I think this takes place right before you become the Lord.
I don't know who this guy is, but if it's going to be a gank fight, I'll want to have some help with aggro deflection. I don't really care for the NPCs, so I'll just end them nonchalantly.
The big green armor guys seem friendly, and Freya seemed kind of cool, but yeah, I don't really feel for them.
Don't you dare approach Mikula the Kind. Needle Knight's Ledder, Dryleaf Dane, and our allies will never allow this.
You say that now, but once I eviscerate your ass with this blade, it won't fucking matter, will it?
Horn Sense up first, as you summon your mimic and he will be nothing but a puddle of blood on the ground. I wonder if Leda knows how badly her friends are going to get destroyed by the three of you.
We can't hear you over the sounds of Donald spamming the shit out of his blade to annihilate you.
I just want to know why FromSoft likes to do gank squad bosses for their games. Dark Souls 2's Sunken King DLC had the worst gank fight of all time, but it's all just a nothing burger in the end. Why not have them fight you on the pathway to Mikula? It'd make more sense then.
I assume it's because nobody could come up with something to fill the gap and make the lore end on a note without leaving too much to answer.
That's just a fancier way of saying they artificially padded out the length of the DLC to make it worthwhile.
Oh, cool. Dane has the shit Gideon likes to spam. Awesome. Fuck off.
Oh man, as much as we didn't get to know more, that was almost too heartbreaking to hear.
Now, I really don't give a shit for the rest of these idiots. Natan is here because of what Mikela did to Mohg's body, most likely as Sanguine Nobles serve under Mohg.
You just pronounced Mohg's name in two different ways in the same sentence. Consistency is a myth with you.
Whatever. Lita's about to meet the ground in a second. Something tells me that Mikela touched you a little bit too much to be thinking that. Mohg especially knew about that.
He was known as the Mohgluster until this DLC came out. Dude was framed big time.
Holy shit, all three of us missed. Fuck's sakes, we're like the three goddamn stooges with that shit.
I wonder where Freya was. Maybe in a future playthrough we can study the quest lines better.
He was stuck staring at stone tablets without a fucking clue how to solve them. That's the last I saw her. Like you said, maybe we'll look into it in a future playthrough, but for now, Dana's dead and we can move on. Now then, let's go hunt down the other remembrances before we face the final big bad.